Hey, it's Papa H and the D Train over here. Another episode of the franchise. We just keep on making them. This is episode 161, I think.
Whoa! Got it.
I remembered from last week.
That's impressive. I'm impressed.
That's right. Short-term memory not totally gone yet.
Not yet.
Despite all of these years of abusing myself.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, hey, right here, too. Yeah.
Sure. All right, Hank. As two people who haven't implanted their seeds into a woman, I feel as though we are not qualified to cover the Seed of Chucky, but we're going to do our level best anyway.
Yeah, it will be mansplaining Seed of Chucky. Is that what we'll be doing, I guess?
Dollsplaining.
Yeah, dollsplaining. Sure. Yeah.
So, of course, Logan Bad Air has entrusted upon us to cover the Child's Play franchise, and this is episode 3 of 4 of that.
Right.
And so we're covering the Seed of Chucky and also Curse of Chucky, which neither of us have seen before.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen either, but you'd seen Seed.
I'd seen Seed a couple times.
Okay.
So we're ready to talk about these movies. Or at least I am. I don't want to speak for you.
I'm not at all ready or prepared for either of my opinions on these movies. I'm just going to wing it.
All right. Well, wing it. We shall. And I have seen these movies now, and I have opinions. Have you brought your opinions?
I have brought my opinions. They are with me. They are in my side pocket. So
okay.
I will pull them out and see what happens here.
All right. Well, this is a first on the podcast. We're going to talk about multiple Dorifs on this episode. I'm ready to do it.
Yeah.
And but let's start a little earlier with Seed of Chucky from the year of our Lord 2004. It came out while I was in my freshman year of college.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that was the year I actually graduated college.
Ah, very nice. I do not think I saw this in theaters. I may have, but I definitely saw it like as soon as it came out on DVD or whatever. So here it is. We're going to talk about it. It was written and directed by our old friend Don Mancini, who has written all the Child's Play movies up to this point. It was released November 12th, 2004 on a budget of $12 million, and it made $24.8 million. Not a huge hit. Frankly, not a hit at all. It came in at number 114 at the box office between two movies that I have seen, Henry.
Okay.
My Baby's Daddy and Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. That's right. I've seen both of them.
Makes sense.
Sure.
They both sound like something you would have seen. Yeah. Especially the Win a Date.
Oh, well, Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, I was on top of, Henry. Saw it right away. Are you kidding me? Topher Grace rom-com. You got the Boz in there. My favorite Lois Lane. And you've got
God.
And that's a very enjoyable movie, the Tad Hamilton. My Baby's Daddy, not very good, Henry.
I don't remember that. Who's in that?
Now, there's 4 guys raising babies, Henry. So there's a lot of poopy and vomit jokes. Mm-hmm. And I only remember 3 of the 4 guys. Someone out there in listener land can tell me the 4th. The ones I remember are Anthony Anderson, multiple-time accused rapist, and there was Method Man in an acting role.
Okay.
Yeah, you know him as
right.
Cheese from The Wire.
That's right.
And then, of course, Christopher from The Sopranos. I believe it. Michael Imperioli? Is that guy's name?
Michael Imperioli, yeah, sure.
He's almost got a unibrow. Not quite. It's right up in there, though.
He gave up on that.
I like that kind of eyebrow, Henry, where it's like, oh my God, like 2 more hairs, you'd have a unibrow, but he's just maybe shaving a little line.
Right.
Jason Lee's got that eyebrow too.
Does he really?
Oh yeah.
I never noticed that on Jason. Okay.
One of his eyebrows just goes up in that middle section a little too far.
Sounded like you were describing like a NASCAR race right there. Yeah.
Well, that's
going there just a little too far, and he almost made it with the shaver, but he didn't quite.
That's more like I feel like maybe a horse race.
Yeah, a horse race.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
And the Belmont Stakes.
Oh, are they British? The horse race announcers?
The one I was doing was not. I mean, it was, but he was doing the Belmont Stakes. So that didn't really make any sense.
No, maybe. So you might notice, Henry, that Seed of Chucky is coming out about how many years? 6 years. 6 years after Bride of Chucky, which is a very interesting situation. Now, do you know why?
No, I do not.
Okay, now Bride of Chucky made money for Universal Pictures.
Yeah.
And they entrusted Don Mancini right after that movie came out, like opening weekend of that movie. Write us another one. Let's keep this train a-rolling.
Sure.
Don Mancini, a homosexual fella.
Yes.
Okay, a little gay fella.
Yeah, that was established, yeah.
He has decided that he wants this movie. He's got some things to say about sexual identity, gender politics.
Okay.
So he writes up Seed of Chucky, hands it in. Universal writes him back a note, a one-sentence note on the script. It's a rejection letter, and the note is, "This is too gay."
Oh, yeah, I remember that line.
All right.
That's great.
Great stuff from Universal.
Real. No veiling there. Just, this is too gay.
Nope.
Yep.
They might as well have just sent him a note that said faggot.
Yours truly, Universal.
Yeah. So he likes the script. He's not has no other ideas. This is his script.
Yeah.
So he waits a while. He submits it to other studios, and ultimately, Focus Features is interested in it. Okay. Now the reason they're interested in it, they are a studio known for pretty small indies and that sort of fair independent spirit award kind of situations.
Yeah.
But they just put out a low budget movie called Cabin Fever by our old friend the Bear Jew, Eli Roth.
Yeah.
And that was a huge hit. So they're kind of interested in horror movies. So they picked up Seed of Chucky, got the rights to the Child's Play franchise from Universal, and they went ahead and even created a little horror arm of Focus Features called Rogue Pictures, and this was the first film released under that heading.
Okay. All right.
Is this very boring?
No.
Okay.
I'm listening because I never knew that about Focus Features.
Yeah. So there you have it. It gets put out under the Rogue Pictures arm of Focus, and it's 2004 by the time that happens. All right.
Yeah, long time, but there are always seem to be a significant, with the exception of the first three, now like a big lapse in time between the different movies.
You know why? Because they're never they don't make that much money, but like they have just enough of an audience.
Yeah. There's staying power, but it's more like it's a marathon. It's not a sprint for the Chucky people.
That is true. There's now been 8 Chucky movies, and it spans like
31 years.
31 years. That's right. Good call.
Yeah.
All right. This movie was nominated for 1 MTV Movie Award.
I did see that, and I did some vocal exercises prior. I want my MTV.
He hit all 4 or 5 notes. He did it. All right. Now, it was nominated for Best Frightened Performance. All right. Now, this is a category they basically give away to like best performance in a horror movie.
Okay.
All right. It could be man or woman. Jennifer Tilly was nominated, but unfortunately she lost to a movie. You'll forget this movie exists. Dakota Fanning won it for a movie called Hide and Seek that she was in with Robert De Niro.
I fucking saw that.
I saw that movie too.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters, dude.
I saw it on DVD. It's not like horrible. It's just sort of there.
It's an absolute nothing.
Right.
Yeah. De Niro's cashing a check. He turns out to be the bad guy. There you go. End of movie.
Yeah, that happens a lot with De Niro. He's like Neeson.
Yeah, very much.
At this point in his career, if De Niro's not cracking old man jokes, he's probably the bad guy.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, intern, you're safe. All right? Yeah. Righteous Kill? Maybe not. I don't remember. Okay.
Yeah, he's the good guy in that.
Oh, okay. All
God,
right.
was that bad.
Yeah, that's an obnoxious movie.
Whoa.
You wanna quickly bang out these 2004 lists?
Yeah, let's bang them out. All right. Number 10. Making a list debut, moving from an honorable mention, is Collateral.
All right, good movie. My number 10 is Dig.
I know it, but I never saw it.
Music doc.
We'll probably won't see it then.
It's a great movie.
No, that's stupid. I shouldn't say that. I love talking about it. Yeah. Number 9, Primer.
All right, my number 9 is Anchorman.
All right. My number 8 is Fahrenheit 9/11.
Yep, my number 8 is Team America. World Police.
Great movie. Number 7 is Kill Bill Volume 2.
My number 7 is Metallica, Some Kind of Monster.
Of course. My number 6 is Layer Cake.
My number 6 is Friday Night Lights.
Ah, yes. All right, here we go.
Heavy hitters. These are the grand slams, the slap shots, the three-pointers, the touchdowns, the curling when the puck gets close to the circle. These are the heavy hitters of the franchise. Heavy hitters.
The skeleton ran out of shampoo in the shower. And that is Anchorman.
Oh, I was enjoying that heavy hitters theme more than usual for some reason this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Your attention was rapt?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's one of those themes, you hear it every week, but sometimes you
find new things in it.
Yeah. There's a lot happening in that.
It's
theme.
like you listen to like Lauryn Hill's The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, right? And like you're hearing it for like the 50th time. All of a sudden in the background you hear some harp. You're like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, it's like hearing like Schumann's Rhenish Symphony, the third movement, and you're just like, oh, that's a little more waltzy than I remembered.
You know what? That's a better comparison, Henry. I'll go to you on that one.
Thanks.
All right. My number 5 is Before Sunset.
Ah, yes. All right. Great movie. My number 4 is Spider-Man 2.
My number 4 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
All right. My number 3 is Sideways.
My number 3 is Shaun of the Dead.
All right. My number 2 is The Aviator.
My number 2 is Sideways.
Okay. And my number 1 movie of 2004, this has never changed. Maybe it will. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
No, it never will, because that is the only movie that I love that Henry gives me shit for not loving enough.
Nah, but I look at my list right now, and I feel like after our Kill Bill coverage, that could be bumped to 1. I feel like I don't know. It's just
that's my number 1, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Kill Bill V2.
Yeah, I don't know. 2004 is just an odd year for me.
It's not very good.
Yeah, it really isn't. I'm not overwhelmed with affection for a lot of these movies. I like them all a lot, but there's not, and Eternal Sunshine is kind of just almost a placeholder because I think it's so great.
I actually feel like I have a lot of affection for the movies on my list, but I don't think they're that great.
Yeah, I hear you. The opposite of my 2013 list.
Well, we'll get there, Henry. First, let's talk about it. Seed of Chucky. It starts on a montage of cum. And
Yes, that was. I want to say startling, but at this point, really, nothing really is.
a big white splooge splatters across the screen as though it's a porn star's face. And
it kind of shows the inner workings of the anatomical makings of a child.
yeah, and this is a Chucky sperm, I assume.
It's very beautiful. Yeah.
So we follow the sperms into Tiffany's vast deference.
Vast deference.
Vast deference.
Her vagina, her doll vagina, gives vast deference to Chucky's splooge.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then we get some extended POV sequence. We don't know who it is. It seems to be a doll.
Yeah.
He or she is waking up in a box. And a little girl opens the box. Doesn't particularly like the doll, but it's her birthday, so she's happy anyway. And then the doll goes on to murder the whole family in actually a pretty well done POV sequence, especially for a first-time filmmaker. And
now, wait, you say because I get confused on the did he? This is his directorial debut.
he's never directed before. The Seed of Chucky.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's hard to keep track. I get confused because he wrote them all, but yeah, all right.
No, you'll recall 3 was directed by Lost's Jack Bender.
Right.
And Bride was directed by that Japanese fella.
Oh, correct. Right. Okay, yeah. No, it's pretty well directed. Yeah.
I would say that and visually it's well directed. It struggles with tone at times.
No shit. Yeah. We're well, you continue a little, I guess.
All right.
With
well,
the plot and yeah.
They, this person kills or this doll kills the whole family, and but he seems to be struggling with it. Right? They don't want to be a killer.
Well, it's a dream.
Right. They curse these murderous impulses. Right. So he wakes up from the dream, he or she. I don't know how I'm going to do that this whole fucking episode.
You have to say he until it's determined in the plot that they don't know, right? Because it's assumed it's a he for most of the time.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Now, what's his name at first? It's Shithead? Something like that? Shitface.
Yeah. I knew I was in for some class action when I saw that.
Yeah, I know. I do want to say that in that dream sequence, he kills the mom in the shower. It's a real Psycho situation. A bunch of nods to Psycho in this movie, by the way.
Bunch of nods to everything, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we get our first, and to this point only, boobs in the Child's Play franchise.
Jeez, that's a good point. Sure, because not even in Bride did we get that.
That's right. Yeah. It's odd for one of these major slasher franchises not to lean heavily on boobs.
That didn't even occur to me. There's so much swearing that I think there's probably more swearing in these than there are the other 3 big Halloween things we've covered. So that kind of takes the focus off of being like, oh, where's all the nudity? But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Maybe because it started in '88, right? By that point, were we done with boobs?
I don't believe we were, but I guess maybe you're right. I mean, it certainly wasn't the Freddy, Jason.
I think there must have been fewer, because by '93 in Jason Goes to Hell, we get boobs in that opening scene, but it's almost like a parody of the boobs we've seen earlier in the franchise.
Right. Good point. So yeah, we get a lot of
great
that.
Great points tonight.
Really, yeah, and we get John Waters in this.
I'm not up to him. Come on.
Sorry. He came up a little while ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, we can kind of get close to that anyway. So we get a behind-the-scenes sequence on a movie called Chucky Goes Psycho. Now we see a scene being shot with Chucky killing Santa Claus, Chucky and Tiffany,
Correct.
And Santa Claus is played by that fella, Jason Fleming, who we talked
Jason
about
Fleming.
in X-Men First Class.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'll be in
everywhere.
your superhero count.
Oh, he sure is. Yeah. He that guy's everywhere, man. I like him a lot, and I was looking at his filmography. He's got a lot to his name.
Sure. Yeah. Well, he got his start working with was it Guy Ritchie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Chucky Goes Psycho is the name of the movie. Terrible title for a Child's Play movie, though I do appreciate that it has the name Chucky in the title.
Yeah, and I have to think that that's part of the in-joke there, Chucky Goes Psycho.
Yeah, but that seems like a fucking first draft, man. You could come up with a more clever name for the finished release.
Maybe it's a working title. You know, maybe it's like the secret title they give movies. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, like how they called Empire Strikes Back Blue Harvest.
Exactly, shit like that. Yep.
Okay, so Chucky Goes Psycho is being made. Now, how'd you feel about this? Jennifer Tilly is playing herself in this movie, and you'll recall she played the titular bride of Chucky in the last movie. And she also plays that character in this movie. So now in the canon, we get Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany as two different characters, and we establish now that that Tiffany is a fan of Tilly.
Yes. I thought it worked. I thought it was funny. I thought Jennifer Tilly was very humble and self-effacing for all the jokes.
Oh my
that are
God,
made at her
incredibly.
expense. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean,
they make fun of her fucking weight. They make fun of her voice. They have
career.
They really do make fun of her career.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think she's probably just like a cool person. You know, she knows what she's in. She doesn't care. You know what I mean? I like.
She
I
probably
pulled that
got
off.
a positive kind of attention for Bride of Chucky, so
Absolutely.
they're asking her to come back for this one. She'll go for it.
Yeah, and you know, I also think that Jennifer Tilly's like one of these people that probably is self-aware enough to know that she kind of did peak, you know, in the 90s with, you know, The Getaway and Bound.
The Getaway? That's where she peaked?
That dude, she has a big role in that with
Who
Michael
the fuck
Madsen.
peaked in The Getaway?
Her and Michael Madsen.
Okay.
That's one of the trashiest movies that I remember loving as a teenager.
You know what's better than The Getaway?
Tell me.
The Chase, bro.
Oh my God. Talk about people peaking.
Who, Sheen or Swanson or both?
Ah, Sheen is incapable of peaking, obviously. Swanson, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, Hank.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so now Chucky is going psycho on the set of this film, and we get Tilly talking to her agent. Her agent is played by one of the many members of S Club 7, the popular British, I think they're British musical combination.
Okay, I didn't know her at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like a parallel thing happening, right? The shitface comes overseas. We do a lot of shipping ourselves. We're continuing the trend from Child's Play 3. Shipping himself over to the Atlantic, over the Atlantic, and to Hollywood to find his mother and father, whom he sees in a preview on television.
The mail service in the Child's Play films is very similar to the mail service in Garfield.
What?
I'm just saying. I think Chucky's gonna mail this kid to Abu Dhabi.
Oh, right, yeah. It's a very good mail service. I mean, apparently you can put yourself. Well, no, we find out that's not really what's going on. I forgot about that. Sort of.
I don't remember.
But yeah. But anyway, yeah. So he mails himself over. He's got like a British little kid voice.
Right. Why did he grow up in England? Do we know?
That is a good. Yeah. Because that guy who's his like cruel.
Right, he's British. Right, he's
He
being
finds
used
him
in a sideshow act as
Right.
a ventriloquist's dummy.
Right.
You know, it reminded me a lot, actually, of that one segment in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not quite as good, but yes. Right.
Always Seed of Chucky, not as good as The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
I mean, it's by a nose.
Okay.
See, I got to tell me just a little bit what's your opinion of this before as you're telling the plot. I'm going to describe this doll. They built anticipation pretty well, I think, in terms of everybody's horrified by what he looks like, and I think they're right. He looks clearly like some sort of Tim Burton creation. That's obviously an influence here.
I think, he looks a little bit like It's Pat.
You're just saying that because of the gender thing, man. You didn't think that before. But that's good. Sure.
I mean, I'm watching Are You the One right now, as I'm wont to do, Henry.
I don't.
Okay, now that's an MTV dating show where they pop, they throw some folks in a house, and they're supposed to find their perfect matches.
Okay.
All right. Now, Are You the One is currently doing a gender non-binary season where everybody's sexually fluid, so anybody could be anybody's perfect match, and this doll looks like half the cast of that.
Oh, all right. Wow, they all must look very horrifying. Okay.
I think it works better on a human.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
All right, so Shitface.
Shitface resurrects them with the amulet that he has from all the way from Bride.
Right,
And
that was established in Bride. That's what they're going to New Jersey for.
And I'm always loving this. Sometimes this seance like chant works in about 10 seconds. And then most of the time, it doesn't work at all. But this kid just says like 3 words, and all of a sudden, they're back to life.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we need them. It's the Seed of Chucky.
It's not even them, right? I mean, it's their bodies are incinerated and buried back in New Jersey.
Oh, does he just put them back into random Chucky and Tiffany dolls?
They're the dolls for the movie.
Oh, that's right. They're prop dolls for the movie.
Yeah, but he just says the magic words, animus, Hercules, succubus, or some shit like that. And then
Give me the power! I beg of you!
Every time. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, he brings them back to life, and it's very weird. And they start killing again. He's horrified. Meanwhile, this is the part of the movie I'm clearly more interested in. Jennifer Tilly needs a role.
Yes, she certainly does.
Okay, so her agent tells her, by the way, her agent tells her this while she's glancing in an issue of the Hollywood Report, like, oh, here's a major movie project that they're casting
that's
for.
so funny. That was so funny. Because that's like, that's where, like Jennifer Tilly in the movie, clearly, she's fallen so far that she's looking for parts in what, fucking Variety? What is it? What's the magazine?
It was either Variety or the Hollywood Reporter. I didn't catch it.
Oh my god!
It's
so
fucked up.
funny.
It's like that, but what's weirder is that's what her agent is doing.
Yeah,
like,
right. Great agent.
Jennifer Tilly tells her agent, "I need a part in a movie." Her agent acts like, "Oh, I didn't realize I needed to get you a part in a movie. I'll do that now. Let me look at the magazine I'm actually reading that I don't even need to pick up. Oh, here we go on the page I'm on."
Oh man!
And the project is
what is the project? Yeah.
The rapper Redman.
Entering our pantheon of great rappers turned actors.
I thought this was one of the better ones we've encountered, actually.
Really?
I thought he was funny.
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Redman is directing a Bible epic.
Sure.
I mean, what?
I
mean, clearly it's 2004, so this is probably a reference to the Passion of the Christ being such a big hit.
I thought about that too. Yeah, the Virgin Mary, the story of the Virgin Mary. They have a very convincing table read, couch read in his office.
That's right. Yeah.
And a lot of knocks at Julia Roberts.
It's not a knock at Julia Roberts, dude.
No.
Yeah, I think it's pro Julia because she says that he says I'm going to go with my first choice, Julia Roberts.
Right.
So now I'm led to believe that this is a universe in which the rapper Redman, whose only previous film or television experience is in starring in the UPN sitcom Method and Red with Method Man.
He's got JR on speed dial.
Yeah, he is directing a prestigious Bible epic that he is luring Julia Roberts to star in. The same Julia Roberts who just a year earlier commanded $25 million for her performance in Mona Lisa's Smile.
Yeah, I did like the joke he did, though. I mean, there's like a joke within that joke when just the sentence itself, I'm going to go with my first choice, Julia Roberts. And it's just quite funny that, like, well, she's my first choice. My second choice
is Jennifer Tilly if she'll blow me.
Right. He doesn't say, like, my second choice was Sandra Bullock.
No, but that's because there is no second choice at this point. The way what we're
He's
led to believe is Roberts is cast, okay? Right. But if Jennifer Tilly gives him a BJ, he'll shit can Julia Roberts and hire Jennifer Tilly?
Absolutely, I guess. Yeah.
What a world.
Hey, he liked Bound.
I did like that she implies that she'll fuck him with Gina Gershon. I mean, she gets
that was funny.
Yeah.
That was funny. I gotta say.
There was some moments, he just shoves her head down onto his cock.
Yes, he does. He gives her the old forcible blowjob, most memorable from Casino with Pesci and Sharon Stone.
Is that what it's most memorable from?
No, I just remember that disgusting scene in that movie.
Sure.
Pesci's like, yeah, shut the fuck up, and like pushes her head down on his lap and then cut away.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's rough.
To be forced to suck Joe Pesci's dick. At least it's not going to choke you, right?
It's Sharon Stone. Oh, sorry, we can't. I forgot about that.
We're not allowed to make fun of her.
That listener, yeah.
Okay, so that's going on in one section of the movie. Then, what's going on here where Chucky trying to like produce sperm at one point?
It's very odd. So Tiffany wants Chucky to impregnate Jennifer Tilly, and then that way their son, or that's when that argument starts happening. Is it Glenn or Glenda? Hardy har.
I actually do think that's a Hardy har.
Yeah, it was.
It's clever.
It's an Ed Wood. It was. Yeah. And so so they want to transfer Chucky into Redman and Tiffany into Jennifer Tilly, but already have her pregnant, so Glenn or Glenda. So they want a real life Glenn or Glenda, so they get Chucky to jerk it, and a turkey baster is involved, and Chucky jerks it in a very funny touch to Fangoria magazine.
I loved this scene.
And John Waters is watching the whole thing, and he thinks it's a little person through the silhouette.
That's right. This section of the movie, this like sequence, feels like a John Waters movie.
It very much does. That's why when I saw him, I thought it was hilarious that he was in it, because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it feels like fucking polyester, the sequence. So, they or Pecker, I guess. I liked when Tiffany leaves Chucky to jerk off, she shows him her doll boobs.
Yes, very true. So that was the second piece of nudity we got there.
I was losing it. And then Chucky goes through his porno magazines and lands on Fangoria to jerk off to, which I appreciated it because I once wrote a couple articles for Fangoria.
Did you really?
Sure. So I feel a kinship with them.
That's pretty cool. Actually, this just occurred to me. Those would be Redman's pornos, right? They're in Redman's house.
That's true. And frankly, Redman would have a lot of pornos.
Probably he would. I don't know if he'd have Fangoria, but he might.
Yeah, well, I think that's just Don Mancini giving a little nod to some folks who have supported him over the years.
Absolutely. Here you go, guys. Chucky's going to jerk it to your mouth.
They probably loved it.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
All right, so meanwhile, there's a whole nother section of this movie where we're using the murdering as a metaphor for addiction.
Oh.
Well,
yeah, oh, right, of course, because they want to straighten up their act because they are addicted to killing. Because they want to, they have the son now or a daughter.
They behead that one doctor, or Tiffany does that, and then Chucky kills John Waters, and then they both kill Redman. And the kid is horrified, and Tiffany begins to see it as an addiction. There's a whole sequence where she wants to go to a meeting, and she's looking for a sponsor.
Yeah.
It's cute, but it doesn't really add up to anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that was funny about this movie that ultimately, to me, works for what it does, but, did not enchant me by any, is that, again, so much of the screen time is taken up by the puppets, but you're not even. It's Dorff and Tilly that make it funny, or make it work. It's so bizarre. It's like an out of body experience, literally. You're watching these fucking dolls just carry on conversations on the phone to humans, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's normal. That's cool, and I think it's a tribute to. I was going to say this earlier. Jennifer Tilly. I obviously, I guess she's doing the same voice for Tiffany.
She's not, though.
Yeah, it feels different.
Yeah,
it feels like it, and it's cool. I kind of wouldn't think she would be able to do something like that, but she did. Right?
Oh, Tilly can modulate, baby.
So it ain't just me. Okay, yeah, I thought you might counter with, no, it's the same voice.
It really, it's absolutely not the same voice.
Yeah, and I think that helps.
No, it totally does. That said, once I had a moment while I was watching Curse of Chucky, the next one, where I was appreciating that I was watching human beings.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, Seed of Chucky is fine for what it is, but at a point it gets exhausting just to watch these sociopathic dolls yap at each other.
Yeah, I mean, it just keeps
I get
going
tired halfway through Meet the fucking Feebles, too. It just can't sustain an entire movie.
Right. And then, there's a lot of people who are tied up, and then those scenes drag on, and there's a lot of shouting, and I mean, they become tedious, that's for sure. I mean, I think it starts out as a funnier one-trick pony and then loses steam at a certain point.
I think that's right, Hank. You mentioned there's a lot of pop culture references and nods in this movie. I want to just bring up two of the ones, one that I thought was horrible, actually, and one that I thought worked.
All right.
The one I thought was pretty bad was Chucky running Britney Spears off the road.
That was weird.
It was an odd moment. He murders
for
Britney
a second,
Spears.
I'm not going to lie, folks. For a second, I thought that maybe Britney agreed to be in this because, she was in Austin Powers, and I was like, is that her?
It's a double who looks very much like Britney Spears, so much so that they had to put on the poster of the movie, Britney Spears is not in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he kills Britney Spears and says in his inimitable Chucky way, "Oops, I did it again." Actually, he doesn't say oops. He fucks it up and says oops.
Oh. Wow, good ear. I mean, okay, yeah, sure.
I'm just saying, do another take.
Come on, yeah, right. Dorff's like, come on, guys, I got to go to lunch.
It's a real Nick Coran situation.
Yeah, get the song right.
Let me know on Twitter if you understand when I make Nick Coran references. It's referencing like the 4th episode of the podcast.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think our longtime listeners will do it. If there's anyone, be honest, if there's anyone out there who just gets that joke and hasn't heard that, I'd be very impressed.
Yeah, me too. Hank. Oh, so the one I liked, Henry, is the one that's referencing The Shining.
That was okay, yeah.
That was okay.
I thought they might have a better one coming for that, but yeah, I mean...
Well, I liked it. They undercut it. They basically do the axe through the door scene like exactly as it is in The Shining, and then Chucky sticks his head through the door and says, like, I have no idea what to say right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, again, that reference probably works better because it's referencing something classic, so it's again with these references that are thrown around in Bride, and then the Britney reference in this is a contemporary reference, so they're not going to hold up that well. And
yeah,
so when
that's the kind of thing that it's better to do on television than in the movies. I think that you're right, and this is the problem with like those spoof movies too.
Yes.
Superhero movie, disaster movie.
It's totally irrelevant after a couple of years, or if that. Yeah, and so the Glenn or Glenda reference and the Shining reference, those things work. And since they don't name a specific Julia Roberts movie, like that works too.
Here's the Scary Movie, that franchise. The first one is a direct parody of Scream, and that kind of works because Scream was like an instant classic. Like everybody knew.
Right, and it's parodying a specific one movie.
Right, so. but listen to this. Scary Movie 2 parodies that movie The Haunting directly.
Oh.
Which I guess was like, it made a lot of money, but no one liked it and nobody remembered it.
Yeah.
And so that second Scary Movie does not work as well because, like, who really gives a shit about the subject of its ire?
Yeah, that's right. It's very true. If you're referencing something that's a piece of shit, it's not nearly as funny. I mean, if you're going to reference something iconic, then it would be if it's done well. I mean, now I saw the first Scary Movie, but I don't remember it at all. So I'd have to see it, obviously.
And you will. Yeah.
Right.
All right, so then the end of the movie, we get a 5 years later sequence, and where we're left at the end of this feature film is that Tiffany, who now loves their daughter, Glenda, who dresses up like a woman and now feels more like herself. Tiffany uses the spell to become Jennifer Tilly.
Right. Yes, she is now inhabiting the body of Jennifer Tilly fully. And then I got to ask you, my friend, I still was a little confused about, so she got pregnant and she had twins.
Right.
So one of them's evil and one of them's good. Okay, I forgot about that. I forgot there's a birth sequence. Jesus Christ.
It's twins. Yeah, so what is that, split shithead in two?
Right. Like, what happens to the doll of shithead? Yeah, I guess he's split in two, and the boy side is a good little kid, and the girl side's like a murdering homicidal maniac.
Right. Maybe that's setting up a sixth movie that just never happened because they went a different way with this next one. I will say I did think there was a couple, more than a few funny Chucky lines. We've already talked about a couple of them, but one of the ones that made me laugh was that, especially since it's written by Don Mancini, a gay man, and he could just say something like this, and it just struck me funny. When they first discover Glenn / Glenda, and she starts sort of like lecturing Chucky on it's up to, it could be both, or Chucky just like, he's like,
I'm not gonna go. Don't get into any of that. Don't give me that crap.
You know,
It's
but
just
you know what though? But they
very
started
funny.
going into that crap. Like what Tiffany
Yes.
was saying
Yes.
was very self-aware and very sort of like
Well, right.
that was
That's
like
why
it's like a nascent version of woke. So
That's why it's funny.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that actually makes Chucky's retort funny. If it just
very
started with Chucky going like, "Who
Right,
is this
right.
fucking freak?" Like that's
Right,
not
right,
as funny.
right. Very different tone, but she comes out. You're absolutely right. I mean, the Mancini obviously a little ahead of his time, and throwing that like in there, and then Chucky's antiquated reaction makes it very fucking funny because that's what Chucky would say, obviously.
Indeed,
So,
indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so and lastly, I will say great picture credits. I'm a fan of the picture credits. I think every movie should have them.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Sure.
You can do it in a
Yeah.
somber way.
You can. Yeah.
But so during the picture credits, you get they use everyone's death scene as the picture. I thought that was legitimately funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe like the most unflattering shot of each of their death scenes too. I remember that.
Absolutely, yeah.
The most egregiously.
And
yeah, yeah.
and Tilly gets an extra long picture credit, like she's the fucking shit. Like, thank you so much, Tilly,
she
for
should.
coming back.
I should. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, how do you feel about this one? What do you give it?
I'm gonna give this movie a 2.
I'm also gonna give it a 2. And what I'll say is, I actually really like this movie. Like, I like this movie more than most movies I give it 2. I just think it is a lot of interesting ideas, only some of which come to fruition, stitched together by the thinnest of threads. The fact that going through this movie, I used the term, like, I kept saying, in this section of the movie.
Right.
I don't do that with movies. This movie just it feels cobbled together from parts.
Yeah, it's a bunch of broken tableaus essentially, and I mean, I'm gonna still haven't really decided. I think I like Bride more, but I mean, I've given a 2 to every one of these movies except the first one, which I gave a 3, and I feel similar. I haven't had a miserable time, honestly, watching any of these.
Right.
They're just not 3-star movies.
I know.
I can't do it. I mean, I want to. I think they're funny and they aim to do what I believe they're aiming to do, but some of them just they're very, very piecemeal.
I like all of these movies. I will watch all of them again in my life.
Yeah,
but
I don't go that far, but I hear you. Yeah.
I gotta grade them honestly.
I hear you exactly. I'm right there with you. My MVP. This was easy for me. I'm giving her due. That's Jennifer Tilly.
Till Dog, love it.
Yeah, I haven't given it to her yet, so that she's getting it.
I'm gonna go with John Waters. I thought he was
That's a good
fucking
one.
hysterical.
He was fucking hilarious. and
His
that would be
fucking face in that death scene is so dynamite.
He is loving that shit. You know.
He's having the most fun.
Oh, absolutely. Probably of anyone in the movie. Yeah, it's great. LVP, I mean, I almost want to get, I was going to give it to Redman. But
by the way,
Tilly calls him that, right?
I very much appreciated Tilly repeatedly calling him Redman.
Very funny. But I mean, maybe I'll give it to the limo guy. He's kind of
my God, that is a good choice, Henry.
Yeah, he's getting it. He's nothing, and like it almost could have been something if he was given a little more dialogue, but he's just vanilla.
The idea of it is kind of sweet. There's this subplot with Jennifer Tilly's limo driver who is in love with her, but she is always, she's having a very rough week, a Chucky-influenced week, and so he hasn't been able to churn up the guts or get the right time to tell her. And that is a decent idea for a subplot in this movie, and it could lead to something genuinely moving or at least funny.
Right.
And it really doesn't. And I'll go with this actor and this character too. It's very milquetoast. I looked up the actor. He really hasn't been in anything.
Yeah, no wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's probably reading Variety right now, scanning the columns.
Yeah.
That's how he got this gig. Wanted bland limo driver for 5th Chucky movie.
He's probably running a yoga studio. I feel like that's what failed actors do.
Or calling your name at a Starbucks.
Sure. That's when you fall real hard. All right. All right, H-Dog. Superhero count?
I got one.
Was Redman in something?
No, I think you already know, but here we go. Jason Fleming.
Oh, duh.
But he's in 4 things, which I must have brought up already in the X-Men coverage. But
so he's in X-Men First Class as fucking Azazel.
Right. He's in Kick-Ass as a lobby goon.
Love those lobby goons.
Love the lobby goons. In From Hell, which makes sense he's in that, he played a character named John Netley. But I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Nor have I. And it's not really a superhero movie.
True. It's a comic book. I think I've included it before. You're actually right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll not include that from now on. And my favorite one, of course, a movie I've never seen. He played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in The League.
Oh, right. Did you hear that Fleming said that being in Seed of Chucky was like the nadir of his career?
No, really?
Yeah, he said something like, I mean, this must have just been his experience making this movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought, when I saw him, I was like, oh, there's Jason Fleming. He's doing this for fun.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't. Okay, go ahead.
He said something like, you find yourself in Romania on a film set getting killed by a doll wearing a Santa Claus suit.
It's okay, Jason. You bounced back 2 years later playing Benjamin Button's father.
How was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen not the fucking down point of his career?
It's a good point.
At least in that one he can say like, man, I'm in scenes with Sean Connery.
Yeah. Of course. That's funny though. I guess so. Not everybody was thrilled to be associated with this campy project. Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. So you know, you got Tilly and Waters and Dora fully on board, but you got your Jason Flemings who were like,
He gives it his all in that scene, though. I thought he was pretty good.
He does, you know. So he's like, all right, I'll do it. He's fine, whatever. Hopefully there's an Azazel role coming up.
Sure. All right, Hank, you want to move on to this next one?
I would.
All right, so our 6th Chucky movie is Curse of Chucky, and Don Mancini's back to write and direct. This comes out another 9 years later.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, straight to video on a budget of $5 million. I do want to point out to you that Seed of Chucky was made on a budget of $12 million, which was the lowest budget of any Chucky movie since the first one.
Really?
In 1988. And now Curse of Chucky, the budget drops below the budget of the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're like making indie Chucky movies at this point.
Yeah, we certainly are. Yeah.
All right, so it's a straight to DVD release at a mere $5 million budget. You want to? Should we do our 2013 list? This isn't even a theatrical movie.
Well, we're covering it.
All right.
So it's on to the show.
All right. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Francis Ha.
Great. My number 10 is Prisoners.
All right, great. My number 9 is Upstream Color.
My number 9 is The Place Beyond the Pines.
All right. My number 8 is Side Effects.
My number 8 is Fruitvale Station.
All right. My number 7 is The Counselor.
My number 7 is Short Term 12.
All right, that's an honorable mention for me. My number 6 is Gravity.
My number 6 is Nebraska.
Honorable mention for me. I have like 9 honorable mentions. This is a great year. Number 5, Fruitvale. Oh, sorry, Heavy Hitter.
What's your number 5?
Fruitvale Station.
Okay, my number 5 is Before Midnight.
Great movie. Number 4, Prisoners.
My number 4 is Francis Ha.
I don't think you or I would disagree on a single movie yet.
Nope. I haven't seen Upstream Color, but other than that, yeah.
Right. One of the few years where I've seen everything you've seen.
Yeah.
Number 3, The Place Beyond the Pines.
Was this the year, Henry, where you were just, like, you saw 1,000 movies? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
When you first moved to Jersey.
Yeah. I had just moved to Jersey, and so didn't have a job yet, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I was able to go to a shit ton of movies. Yeah. Those days are long gone.
Sure.
But, it was a good year for me in the theater. Yeah.
My number 3 is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, I know. Fucking idiot.
Number 2, Out of the Furnace.
My number 2 is 12 Years a Slave.
Okay, and that is my number 1 movie of that year.
And my number 1 is Her.
Right. Not on my list, not an honorable mention, but a very good movie. Inside Llewyn Davis, not on either of our lists.
Oh my God! What a year! I'm looking at my honorable mentions: The Hunt on neither of our lists, Rush,
Oh, great.
Blue Jasmine.
okay.
I know Pain and Gain, Captain Phillips. A lot of good movies that year.
You're totally different. Nebraska, Mud, Stoker, What Maisie Knew, Wall Street, and you know what? I even put it as an HM, The Heat. That's right.
Holy shit! Yeah, I have The World's End. That's my comedy HM. But
The Hunt, that's a fucking great movie.
Wow. That is a great movie, unlike The Heat, which is a terrible movie.
Unlike the World's, but no, I did that before,
yeah,
right?
You're wrong about what that is.
All right, let's do it.
All right, H-Bomb. Curse of Chucky. Let's talk about it. It is sort of a locked room mystery, kind of.
Dude. Can I say something right off the bat?
I want you to say it.
This movie's fucking awesome.
Henry, I'd like to tell you something, okay?
What's that?
This movie's fucking awesome.
Dude, it's like...
What the fuck happened? Where did this come from?
No, Don Mancini. All of a sudden, I'm like, this man is a master. What is going on here? This movie just took me by the balls and never let go.
It's old-fashioned. It's interesting. It's like if Agatha Christie wrote a Chucky movie.
I mean, everything in it, man. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I don't know about that. Let's go. Let's not go crazy.
I ain't ratcheting it down. You know, I mean, the leap, dude, from Seed to Curse, and the technique and the everything and the acting but what I was going to say was
it's the best one since the first one.
Of course, and in certain ways, I like it more.
I do not, but it is a very, very good movie.
The first one, what, 4?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, no, what actually, also, when I was saying unbelievable, what I was going to say, too, to end that exclamation, was that it's unbelievable to me that this is the one that went to video. Like, I understand, I read about it and all that, but, I mean, that was an error. I mean, that was a dumb...
On Universal's part?
Sure. I mean,
yeah,
did anyone watch the thing?
I don't think so. I think... Yeah, they could have made some money on this bad boy because it's a $5 million feature film. If you put this out, it's 9 years after the last one. You might get some nostalgia heads. You'll get all the horror guys that go see everything. You know, it'll probably make the same $25 million that fucking Seed of Chucky made, but on a $5 million budget.
That's right. And, you know, 2 other things to add to exactly, I agree with you. 2 other things. It's 2013. There is a shit ton of horror movies this year that some are very good, like The Conjuring, and then there's like, you got fucking Ouija and shit. I mean, they're just tossing them out. So fucking throw this
Purge.
in there.
Purge is this year.
Yeah. I mean, just throw this out there. I mean, what do you have to lose? And to my second point, it was well reviewed.
Was it? I didn't really look at that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's just very funny to me. It's just like,
all right.
I don't, yeah.
Oh, well, but part of me is glad it was made in the straight-to-video system of Universal, because maybe he wouldn't have been able to make this movie otherwise.
Yeah, nobody fucked with it. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody fucked with it. It's a small, self-contained, little exciting movie. And you know what else I liked about it? I didn't read anything about it. I thought it was a sequel to the last one, but then in this movie, when Chucky shows up and he looks more, well, he doesn't quite look like the Chucky from the original, but
yeah.
There's only times, maybe the first time, I was like kind of frightened by his appearance. It was off, and then they explain why, which made it even cooler. And I will say this up front, right ahead. I got a text from our mutual friend and five-timer club, or four-timer club, Aaron Farinelli.
I think it's a 5 situation.
I think who had told me that he really likes Curse and Cult, and to make sure I stay tuned for the post-credits in Curse. Well, unfortunately, I don't think Aaron remembered this, but he was referring to the unrated version, which I didn't watch.
I did, but I don't think I knew there was a fucking scene at the end of it.
Did you not? Do you not know what it is still?
No.
Oh my God, this is exciting. Well, now you're going to like the movie even more. Dude, I mean, Aaron said it to me. He said it's one of his favorite scenes in any of the movies, and I see why. So what I had to do was, after I watched it, because
you found it on YouTube or something?
He's not going to miss what I... Now, unfortunately, he didn't ruin the surprise at all, because he didn't tell me what it was. But
tell me what it is!
When it got to the end of the movie and nothing happened, and I went to Wikipedia, I was like, wait a minute, and then it kind of spoiled it for me. But it didn't matter. I watched it. So, do you want to wait till we get to the end?
No, just tell me. Tell me.
So, the end of the movie, you see the grandmother shriek up, right, with the bag over her head, right?
Right.
You made it to that.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Okay, credits roll. Then it opens, and a package is being delivered.
Wait, you're talking about all the Tiffany shit?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
What happens? A package?
You definitely didn't see this.
Okay.
The package is delivered to this townhouse apartment, and this guy with like a scraggly beard looking hipster answers the door, and he takes the package in, and it really obviously has the same shape as a Chucky doll, but so he takes it into the kitchen, and he makes a phone call. As he's making the phone call, a knife is undoing the box, and the camera is panning over some pictures, and the photos are Catherine Hicks with Andy Barclay, Christina Leese as Kyle, and the guy on the phone is saying, "Mom, I'm sorry. I always try to call you. I'll be better. I'll be better." And all this shit's happening, right? So then you fucking realize it's Alex Vincent.
Wait, it's actually Alex Vincent?
Yes. And Chucky pops out, turns around, looks at the photos, and when he turns around, Andy has the jump on him and has a shotgun, and Chucky looks at him and he goes, "Andy!" And Andy goes, "Play with this." And he blows his fucking head off.
All right.
Fades to black. And I was like, that was fucking cool. So, how about that?
I love it.
I mean, now, granted, I would never have known that it was the actual Alex Vincent until, he looks it's fucking 30 years later.
Yeah.
But great ending and a great touch. So, that enhanced the movie to me, too. So,
okay.
Anyway.
So,
there you go.
So, the movie starts with... It's Fiona Dourif, who is in a wheelchair, even though her legs move 100 goddamn times in this movie.
I didn't really think about that.
Oh my god, she is so bad at holding those things.
Yeah, she's a good actress. I've never seen her in anything. I assume you have.
Henry, surely you've seen her in something.
Here we go. It'll be something I've seen, right?
Henry, Henry, surely you've seen her in something because she was in the Purge television show.
Oh, right. I had
And you promised me you'd watch that.
Yep. Just didn't remember her presence in that. That's 100% exactly where my memory went there. Yep. She's great in that, playing that the mayor of Purge Vic Town mayor.
She's a
person.
cult leader.
Really good. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Fiona Dourif. Yeah, she's all right. I don't think she's great shakes, but she carries it off convincingly. What?
No, I just said she's good. That's
all.
all.
Okay. So she and her mom are living in this like mansion for some reason. I have no idea where this is. For some reason, the whole movie I felt like it was in England, but I don't think it was supposed to be. It's like It must just be because, like, I think that's just because of the tone of the movie. Like, the tone of the movie to me was so, like, British, Marple and,
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I know what you mean by that. I just assumed it's in some, like, weird, suburb off-road in, like, fucking Maine or California. Maybe it's Castle Rock.
Oh, sure. Okay, so they're living there. They get a Chucky doll in the mail. She goes to answer the door. Loved the scene with this FedEx guy hitting on her.
Yeah, very funny.
I love the cut of this guy's jib. Showing up at a door, a good-looking girl answers in a wheelchair. He doesn't get scared off. I'm going to get this girl to suck my dick.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
he doesn't care, and she's very flattered.
She's into it.
Mom is not.
Yeah, Mom's kind of an asshole. She tells her, like, he was just being nice because you're a fucking cripple.
Which I thought was gonna turn into very poor, what's the word? Stereotype of the evil mother. But then you get
that's true. I was worried we were getting into like a mommy dearest kind of a movie, but no, because the mom's dead like seconds later.
Yeah, and the credits are great too, by the way. Just kind of looming around the Chucky doll. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, it was
far
cool.
cry from the jizz.
Yes, not quite the same as the cum credits. Sure. All right.
So then what happens? So Mom is found dead. It's thought then Nika, who's the Dourif character, she is visited by her sister and her clan.
Sure. So they consist of the guy who plays Chris Harrison on Unreal.
Funny, and I got to say, for once in one of the blander husband roles, I thought that guy was pretty good.
Yeah, well, he's not a bad actor.
Hasn't happened yet.
He plays it almost like a parody of a bland husband,
yeah,
like a slight bit outsized.
Very much, yeah. And then they got a priest.
Actually, I thought a few of the performances were like that, almost like they were going for like a fake soap opera, like Twin Peaksy kind of a thing with some of the performances.
It's got a very sure but unique tone to it.
I'll tell you what, as a follow-up to Seed of Chucky, Don Mancini worked a lot on tone.
He really did.
Yeah.
So you get what? You get a little girl, a live-in nanny,
right.
Mom and dad, and a priest. And they're all there also to, like, because everyone thinks that the mother committed suicide. And, they want to make the sister's pretty well,
and they need to figure out what to do with this mansion.
Right. Well, yeah, they don't want her to live there because she can't, she's not a human. She can't.
Sure, she's half a person, obviously. So we want to sell this mansion, make some money.
Yeah. Mom, have a living will. That's all you got to do. She didn't clearly leave it to. Oh no, she left it to both sisters.
Right. So it was up. That's why it was up to them to decide what to do. One thing I wanted to say is when they opened the Chucky doll, I started to say this when they opened the Chucky doll in that first sequence. When he doesn't look like he did in Bride or Seed of Chucky, I was starting to think that this movie was a reboot.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Like this was a first Chucky
different.
movie, like a remake
Yeah,
of Child's Play. And, I wasn't sure what to think for most of the movie, and I actually thought it was a really fun, weird move to, like, very late in this movie, in, like, the last 10 minutes, all of a sudden get mired in Child's Play continuity.
Absolutely.
To the point
I
where
agree.
Jennifer Tilly is showing up as Tiffany Tilly.
Which really could have derailed it from what it was, and totally didn't. Like, he did something pretty impressive by weaving all that shit together, but leaving it out for the most part. So
he focused on just
on.
he focused on just making a great Chucky movie. It made sense that Chucky was off on his own storyline wise because he leaves Tiffany and the kid at the end of Seed.
Yeah.
And also, I forgot the last point I was going to make.
Well, he has.
What are we talking about?
He has like a makeover. I mean, it's like that's what explains his face. He's been like
a makeover.
Yeah,
he puts plastic and silicone over the sort of stitched over spots. And
I believe we're led to believe that Tilly did that for him.
Oh, maybe. Oh, that's right. That's right.
She's the one who sent the package.
Correct. Okay, so yeah, for most of the movie, they just focus on making like a good self-contained version of a Chucky movie, and then the last 10 minutes or so act just sort of as an epilogue to fans of the series, and here's where everybody else is, and here's what's coming up. Check it out.
I thought it was a great touch too because it was almost like Don Mancini just being like, you know what. Most of these movies might have been weak. I might have been trying to figure different tones out, but I still love them in my heart. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna disown them.
No, listen, and this is the strength you get from having a writer who is associated with so many of the movies in a franchise, because they develop a certain affection for the characters, and this is why almost invariably I prefer those sorts of franchises. Don Mancini, I maybe that's putting it too hard, but that I find those franchises interesting to watch. We talked about this with that fellow who wrote all those Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah,
it lends it a nice sense of continuity. Or Paul W.S. Anderson with Resident Evil.
Right, two great examples, and some of the flaws in
or The Purge,
or The Purge.
James, hey, it's me, James Del Monaco. I got another purge for you.
And something that we lacked severely in the X-Men, and something we had to a certain extent with at least a lot of the creative people behind the Avengers.
Maybe the two types of franchises I like are the ones where one person does all of the movies, and the ones where a different person does each movie. Because that's interesting to me. That lends it sort of a wildness.
Yeah.
Like, Friday the 13th, or I'm struggling to think of some others.
I know. But what you're saying is like either keep the same guy going or get a completely new, fresh team every time.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, which, by the way, speaking of...
or Bond. Bond is one that does that a lot.
Absolutely. They're always at least the same producers, and there are a lot of the same directors.
No, I'm saying they move around directors a lot. They'll bring people back, but, really since the 70s, no one director has directed more than, two of them, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Two seems to be like a cutoff point.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not really fair either,
you're done, Martin.
Yeah, you're done, Martin Campbell. You just brought the franchise back to life. Get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Mark Forster for the next one.
I just saw Finding Neverland. Get out of here.
Wait, why did Drew Goddard just pop into my head? Was I thinking about? Were we talking about showrunners of?
I don't fucking know.
adventure. I don't know. I saw Bad Times at the El Royale out, by the way.
Oh, what'd you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, so this whole family is in this house, and they give the Chucky doll to the daughter as a present. By the way, cute and decent child actress.
Not too bad. I only got worried by like her first scene where she's kind of laughing and it's some bad acting, but after that, she delivers her lines pretty well.
Okay.
Yep, she's. I know I'm the harsh critic on the kid actors. She's pretty good.
Everyone plays their parts pretty well.
Fooled me on some of the internal.
Well, I want to talk about that because
fooled me.
This movie was starting to really disappoint me because they intimate that the nanny, the live-in nanny, is having an affair with the dad because we see the dad flirt with her a little bit and she's not unreceptive, and we right, what happens, and we see you know what it is, we see the mom getting annoyed that the dad is around the nanny,
right?
So we take that to mean the nanny's having an affair with the dad. And
it doesn't in any way seem like there's going to be any kind of turn on that. It
just
seems kind of like, yeah.
And so I was out on that. That's a fucking staid, tired idea, man. I might as well be watching Gossip Girl or
yeah.
You know. Yeah. But here's what happens.
Yeah.
Boom.
Turns out
the nanny's fucking the mom.
Holy cow.
You know what? It's not a radical idea, but it's not one you've seen done a lot.
No, you don't see it coming in this movie, I think, more importantly.
No. Sets it up perfectly. It's the perfect kind of twist where you don't see it coming, and then when it comes, the second you realize what's happening, you're like, that makes sense.
Yes, and it retroactively benefits the movie by having you think back quickly, because the movie moves at a clip, having you think back quickly to those scenes where you thought it was the other way around, and he does that all very well. So it's like, that's what's really going on. And of course, the best little twist within that twist is that the husband fucking knows the whole time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he put a nanny cam in Chucky, which leads to a great little POV kill.
Yes.
You know, the deaths are better in this movie too. Although a lot of eye stuff. I don't appreciate Don Mancini's fixation on eye violence.
Right. That's a good point. You get, even in Seed, John Waters gets acid on his face, but it's his eye that really takes the heat. And then in this, the mother gets her eye like basically gored out.
Yeah, she gets stabbed in the eye.
This inexplicable one. The babysitter gets electrocuted, but only her eye.
I know. What the fuck was going on there?
He's got something about that. Maybe that's his MO. I don't know.
I love that scene, by the way. It's such a smart use of that setup with the mom having the affair with the nanny.
Freaked me out a little bit, man. I gotta say, this movie had me. A couple of scenes actually got me a little scared.
Well, what they do that I thought was so smart is she's in bed next to the mom is in bed with the dad who is sleeping, and she is saying a loving, because it's not just a sex affair. It's like they're in love, which I also thought was smart, and. They're FaceTiming each other, but they're not able to talk. They're just like mouthing goodnights to each other. Yeah, and so when fucking Chucky starts killing her, she is watching, she's seeing it on the fucking FaceTime screen, but silently, like in terror.
And when his head pops up in the background and she's trying to point,
she thinks it's her daughter.
Right. Yeah. Does she at first?
Well, at one point she says to the nanny, "Oh, she's up."
Right. I just feel like she started to get more frantic.
Well, yeah. Well, she starts to realize something's amiss.
Right. And so, it's an excellent use of that. And And still then even when the husband is awakened, right? Like he just, I suppose, plausibly thinks that it's Nika doing all this. I mean,
right. Well, that's what it comes down to. Is we are now in a cast of characters for the first time in a while that doesn't know anything about Chucky.
That's right.
Right?
Like, except for Nika, who has done the research.
Well,
right?
Eventually she knows about Chucky. At first, nobody fucking does.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
So I thought that led to a nice paranoia element in the movie because all the characters start to think each other are murderers.
Yeah, and I mean, Nika's already been pretty treated like shit. I mean, the only person who's nice to her basically is the little kid, and the nanny is pretty nice to her. But
right,
and
true.
All right, I'm wrong. I guess the father, but the mother and the sister are shit to her. So you're kind of given a little bit like that it wouldn't be far-fetched for these people to kind of turn on her.
Yeah, totally. And she's like, they're a family. So the only suspect is Nika.
Right.
And so as soon as people keep showing up dead, it's fucking Nika. It's gotta be. There's no one else here.
Excellent usage of it's not called a freight elevator, right? It's like a...
It looks like a freight elevator. I guess it's just like a wheelchair accessible elevator.
Yeah, very good usage of that. And when the husband discovers the reality is also great because he's using his own camera to see Chucky coming up behind him.
Right.
Very cool. It's just very inventive, man. Very
clever fucking movie, dude.
Dude, really is. Yeah.
This shit didn't even come out in theaters.
That's what I said.
Henry, think about this. This is a direct-to-DVD movie that cost $5 million to make. That's pretty much what all those fucking Leprechaun movies cost.
Absolutely, man.
Think about the fucking... And I'm not even talking about the quality of screenplay. But, like, just think about, like, the hood Leprechaun movies.
Yeah.
The look of them. The effects work. The... like, the cinematography. This movie does not look cheap.
Not in any way does it look cheap. I mean, budget would have never entered my mind had I already not, known it. And
I would have thought it cost what the other ones cost.
And if I hadn't done any reading at all and was not like aware that it was a VOD, and you just said you lied to me or omitted it and said, oh yeah, now we're gonna go to Curse, and that was released in theater, and I'd be like, yeah, that was released in theaters, obviously. It looks. I mean, I haven't seen too many VOD movies. I don't think. Maybe I have.
Well, here's the thing. You fucking have, because technically all those Netflix, like Roma is a VOD movie.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, I do know what you mean. And the movies that were coming out VOD in that era, because this is even before Netflix was really much of a thing. House of Cards started in 2013.
Yeah.
So, like, I think those movies at the time, they were horrible, right? They were like the quality of those fucking Leprechaun movies.
Absolutely, they were. Yeah.
And this really is something kind of special.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
All right. So ultimately, at the end of the movie, they take Nika away. She heads to a fucking mental institution, and doesn't it turn out? Oh, there's some fucking flashback stuff in this movie too.
Oh yes.
Okay, so some of that stuff I was worried about because the last time we encountered this was in. Remember those scenes in Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, where he was like raping the little girl in his backyard. He's like hi.
That was horrendous. Yeah. I had faith by that point in the movie in Mancini, but the thought did cross my mind that oh man, are we going into like exploitation? Because at this point it's not Bride or Seed, so like it's gonna just come across poorly. I mean, it almost does.
So what happens? What's his relation to this family?
It's very odd. I mean, that shit's creepy too, in a good way. When they show a film, they're watching old films, right? And they see Charles Lee Ray in the background. So it's really not explained ever, except that he was a quote unquote family friend. And so I guess
No, but he was a neighbor,
Yes,
and
right.
didn't he like kill
love
or like he like stabbed. Oh, you know what it was? He stabbed
dad.
Nika's mom. He kills the dad and stabs Nika's mom's pregnant belly, which is the reason that Nika is in a wheelchair.
Correct. And thankfully,
And she says, "You did this to me."
yeah, to Chucky, yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Thankfully, they cut away from that, and I mean, it's very scary. Scary like in a,
It's a little weird because you've got first of all, they connect it with the first movie. You have Brad Dourif wearing like a bad wig and like
black and white, so that was smart.
some effects trying to make him look younger. It doesn't really work, and so he's keeping the mom captive, and she tells the police. She gets in contact with the police, right? Or the little girl does. Anyway, they tell the fucking police where he is, and then it picks up with Child's Play with Chris Sarandon chasing him.
Yeah, I mean,
apparently they tried to get Chris Sarandon to come back and do a scene in this part of the movie, and he turned it down.
Oh, that would have been interesting, but hey, shit, they got Alex Vincent, so.
Good point, bro.
Yeah, but
yo, we couldn't get Chris Sarandon, but we got Vincent.
I'm sure he was a lot easier to get. Although I don't know what Chris Sarandon's doing these days. Maybe he's acting. I don't know, but the one thing about that scene that I thought was interesting was we talked about this I think last week, where we were, or I don't know what week, but about him being called the Lakeshore Strangler, and I said like, well, he's more really like a fucking bank robber or something, right? And so to show a scene where he does like kidnap a woman,
yeah,
more sense.
Well, it still doesn't make sense. He should be the Lakeshore Kidnapper.
Lakeshore Stabber, because he's not strangling her. But you know what I mean?
We still have no evidence of his hands being used for strangulation purposes.
Is that knife a throwback to? Is that a callback? The knife with the red and the white little squiggly thing on it. Is that from the first movie?
I don't remember.
I think it is.
Okay,
listeners. Yeah, I think the knife he had. But anyway, I mean,
okay, so Nika gets taken away, and Chucky reunites with Tiffany, and that's the end of the movie. What do you give it, Henry?
I am going to give this. I have this written down, and I'm wondering if I should change my rating.
Henry has given this movie a 3. And he's currently contemplating whether to up his grade to a 4. Let's find out what he does.
You are incorrect, actually. Very funny, but I'm gonna keep it. No, I had it at a 4.
And what were you thinking about?
I was thinking about 5.
You're a fucking nut job. I'm giving this movie a 3.
Yeah, no, it's not a 5-star masterpiece, but it is a masterful improvement upon everything we've seen before.
Yeah, it was a joy to watch.
Movie. I'm a little disappointed you're only going 3.
Well, I don't want to overrate it because I don't know whether it's just because I'm watching it for the first time. It's new and exciting.
True, but you also adhere more strictly to your star ratings in what has preceded it than I do. So if you gave it a 4, that would be you, in your mind, right? You'd be saying you like it more than the first Child's Play.
Or as much, and I don't. I still think the original Child's Play is the best movie.
Yeah.
Well,
come on that from me, but this is a 4-star movie. I recommend it to horror fans.
Oh, big time recommend, yeah.
Definitely.
Who's your MVP?
I had kind of a tie, and I think I've decided. I'm going to go... All the actors in this movie are very strong. I'm going to go with Mancini.
Ooh, I love a Don Mancini MVP.
Yeah. Because this is a meaningful comeback for this guy. I mean, it's not appreciated, I'm sure. I'm sure he didn't get any work for it, but I don't care.
No, he did, Henry. He did. People liked this movie, and after this movie, he started working on Hannibal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember that fact. Okay, well, good. I mean, so it's going to Don Mancini, definitely.
All right, well, I love that. I think I'll join you.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. LVP, Yeah, that's an open. You got to go first because I actually wrote a question mark.
Well, it is a tough one because there are so few characters in the movie, and no one was out and out bad.
Ooh, yeah.
And so you kind of have to go just with the least valuable, okay? And
Maybe.
I'll go with I don't know, maybe the mean sister, or maybe, you know what? I'll go with the mean mom. Whatever.
She's not in it very much. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but
Right.
all she did in her scene was lead me to believe, oh God, is this going to be a terrible Mommy Dearest movie?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat brought back in that flashback sequence. And I wasn't going to give it to the priest because I think he's very good in that whole soup sequence. I thought was excellent.
Oh yeah, the priest is. You know what? I'm going to go with the priest. I forgot the character existed, so
I started to bring him up, but we got sidetracked. Yeah, I mean, he's fine. I thought he was decent.
I just felt like there was one too many characters in the movie. Like this movie, like there were a couple of characters that were in there to be cannon fodder.
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah.
And for such a clean, fucking tight movie, otherwise it stood out.
I'm going to go with this, and I don't think she's bad, but I think possibly somebody with a little more acting chops, not anyone maybe particularly famous, but could have made this role a little better and a little less generic, and that's going to be the actress who played the babysitter.
You know what? I completely disagree. With the way you were leading up to that, I was hoping you'd say Fiona Dourif, because I really do think that you could have found a better actor for that role. The babysitter I found very likable. Like, she's
likable. She's just extremely. I just found her very generic. But
she is a little generic, but I was sort of like genuinely into. Like, I wanted her to be with the mom. Like, I was invested in that storyline, so I have to give her some credit for that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I also want to say one other thing about this movie is that it takes the focus off of Chucky so extremely and onto this cast of new characters that Brad Dourif doesn't speak until like halfway into the movie.
Right, this is true. But
and I thought that was a great choice for this movie.
I agree. His verbosity has been a plus in some of the worst ones we've seen because he's just so fucking great. Mm-hmm. But the way this movie's constructed, I was happy to cede time for that kind of build-up. I thought it was cool.
Absolutely. Okay, Henry, what's your superhero count?
0.
Oh, love it. Okay.